In order for us to examine the beliefs that have taken shape in us and in our society today, we need to find the source where they came from. One of the oldest sources related to our beliefs and religious system today is the book known as the Bible, that was written over a period of 1500 years, between 3500 and 2000 years ago. Now we are going to see how the most influential book in human history introduced God to us. One of the events that we can learn who God is from the Bible is when Moses met God on top of Mount Sinai. It was there God delivered 10 commandments. The first 4 commandments are related to the type of human interaction with God, and the last 6 commandments are related to the type of human interaction with each other. In the first 4 commandments, God asked the people of Israel to worship no form of idols or images in the sky, the sea, or the land, and to dedicate one day a week having a relationship with God. What does worship mean, and why God asked them not to worship any idols and to dedicate one day a week having a relationship with God? These are questions that will be answered further in this program. Here we are going to get a little acquainted with the character of God by examining the last 6 commandments that relates to the relationship of human beings with one another. The 5th commandment, respect your parents. It seems that in this commandment God asked the people of Israel to be diligent in maintaining and creating happiness for others. God asked them to start this from family within. This commandment can show the value and importance of human happiness in the sight of God. Do not kill. In this commandment, God asked them to value each other's bodies and souls. It seems that God emphasized the importance of what is valuable to human beings and keeps them in peace. Do not commit adultery. Before we look at this commandment, we have to observe certain facts. These decrees were given about 3500 years ago to Israelis. That time, history was a period of violence, abuse, inhumanity, and oppression. In one of the difficult era of human history, Israelis were slaves in Egypt for generations. Difficult and hard living conditions caused them to commit murder, abuse, and a lot of sexual violence like rape. The meaning of the word adultery for us today maybe is having sex outside marriage. However, thousands of years ago, when God taught mankind the culture of marriage, He actually intended to prevent rape. If we pay attention to the framework of the culture of marriage, a man proposed to a woman. In fact, he offers to have a physical relationship with her, and the woman has the right to say yes or no. When God taught the culture of marriage to humans, He actually intended to give women the right to choose their sexual partner in order to protect them from being raped. In this way, what makes the relationship between two people legitimate, it is not just to sing a verse and bind people in the name of God. What makes a relationship between two people legitimate is following the culture of God. A culture in which freedom of choice are respected, along with respecting each other and consideration for happiness of one another. In some society today, where the meaning of marriage has gone astray, man would marry a woman in legal or religious ceremony, and believe that God has made husband owner of wife, and have the right to abuse her. However, some society that understand principle and philosophy of marriage correctly, they do not allow their children get married before 16 years old. The liberty and choice that God gave to women thousands of years ago today has been developed into many factors and more beautiful aspects. These days, people have right to education before making any important decision like marriage. In world today, education is liberation. The eighth commandment, do not steal. In this commandment, God asked the people of Israel to respect other people's belongings. The ninth commandment, do not bear false witness. In this commandment, God emphasized the importance of truth and honesty. Therefore, all things that lead us to understand the fact of this world, like science, knowledge, and history, are obtained from God's culture. On the other side, whatever leads us to false information, like incorrect history, superstition, or fake news, are against God's culture. Ten Commandment, thou shalt not covet the neighbor's good. The sense covet happens when we lose our happiness for what we have and our respect for what belongs to others and is the reason of their happiness. In this commandment, God asked the people of Israel to always maintain their happiness and to respect what belongs to others. In the last 6 commandments, God is asking Israelis not to abuse each other in any way. Like in the 5th commandment, respect your parents, God is asking them not to abuse their parents mentally. 6th commandment, do not kill, is related to physical abuse. 7th commandment, adultery, is related to sexual abuse. 8th commandment, do not steal, is related to financial abuse. 9th commandment, do not lie, that is abuse to one's right. Israelis were slaves in Egypt for generations, around about 3,500 years ago. That led them to absorb the culture of violence and abuse. Therefore, God is teaching them these fundamental principles of God's culture for any community to live in peace and harmony.